Hey everyone. So, welcome to a look inside Facebook advertising. And today we're going to be talking about what matters most, and that is going to be your copy. And we're going to get into the ad sets themselves so you can see, not just from a theoretical standpoint, you're going to get an inside look behind the scenes, peek underneath the hood and see what's happening, look at what really happens in these ads and how you can make your ads a little bit better. And it comes down to copy and your hook and curiosity, the value you deliver. And then all of that needs to be in an eloquent story that delivers something to the client, to the customer, to the potential lead that they can look, touch, and feel. So that value needs to be understood. So we're going to get into that. We're going to go from the actual screen itself. And because it's Whiteboard Wednesday, we're going to hop on the whiteboard. So if you have not subscribed, if you're checking this out on YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast, whatever the case may be, we've got a lot of information on YouTube. Our actionable audio, Serious Profit for Serious Marketers podcast features a lot of information. We're building out our membership site. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel at DeepBridge Consulting, and go ahead and download our podcast, Actionable Audio, Serious Profit for Serious Marketers. So let's get into it. And we're going to start off with, like I said, we're going to jump straight into it. I'm not going to, we make a lot of very long form content, but this will not be one of them. We're just going to talk about the brass tacks. So when you're actually looking at so this is a client who is building out, and this is just a piece of their strategy to drive some traffic to their website. So we're going to talk about basic traffic. Now, a lot of these executions can have a lot of different objectives in which you need to change your copy accordingly, but we're going to talk just from a high level so you can see what's happening, and we can tailor make. Obviously, we do this. So if you have any questions and you need help with this, reach out to us. But this is just for the general, for general copy's sake. And I think this kind of overview will really help. So we're not going to get into pixels or anything like that, tagging, but I want to show you some of the information we have here. And when we run these ads, we tend to do, if we're just doing general traffic, you have to understand what Facebook is. So Facebook, in terms of a traffic source, you have to realize what you're selling and that Facebook is they're not in buying situations. So you can't hit someone over the head and say, okay, here, come buy my stuff. It's not going to work. And it's already pretty difficult when it comes to any general ad, but especially when it comes to Facebook ads, it's very difficult because it's social media in its purest form. They're there to be social. They're not there, it's not purchase media. So there's a lot of situations where it's more of a buying mechanism. Google Ads is a great example. They're searching, they have a problem that they're searching for. They have qualified themselves essentially as a lead. So you should be offering value that in terms of the actual, you should be selling something. But when it comes to Facebook, you're building relationships. And I think because it's social media, that's an easy way to think about it. If it is social media and you're someone who's selling something's at odds and you have a barrier, and that is the conversion of a product. So they're not looking to be converted. They're looking to have some sort of deep relationship. Now, that doesn't mean that, not all relationships, we're not talking romantic. They could be wanting a relationship with a business. Let's say they weren't thinking about you before, but if you're coming in there hot, offering value, well, of course, they're going to want a relationship with you and they're going to find that relationship valuable. So what's in it for them? That's one of our favorite phrases here at DeepBridge. What's in it for them? And your ad on Facebook should make that very clear. So when we're going for these general traffic ads, you can go with an image. We tend to go with multiple cards with a directions card at the end if it's local business. And these cards are very important because these cards each of these cards will have copy at the top, and the copy at the very top of the cards will be the same. Now the floating cards, the ones that change, I always add a different header. So if you can see on the screen here, we've got you've got goodbye brow pencils, and then on the other ad it's goodbye and security. And so these carousel ads, they're hitting the 2 to 3 main problems that your customer is having. So when you're making this ad set work, and if you want to try out a carousel ad, and for these different cards, be hitting different headlines. So I try to hit them on an emotional level. So, and when I actually use these headlines, I talk like the customer. So the goodbye brow pencil, the brow pencil is something that, it might not resonate to some people, but it definitely resonates to the ideal customer. Goodbye insecurities, again, that resonates with the customer, and it's at an emotional level. So the value you're offering, first of all, is registering to them as, okay, they understand my problem. If you can get your customer to say, okay, they get it. If you can understand the problem better than your customer, they won't ever question what you're selling, because there is no cognitive dissonance. And that comes as a result of them not understanding, is this for me? Do they understand? Is this a mistake? So in these different cards, use this as an opportunity to change up what you're actually touching upon. And again, I always try to focus on the emotional aspect. So goodbye brow pencil to the ideal customer will take that emotional, because there is a negative sentiment associated and a negative connotation with the brow pencil itself. Same with insecurities. That one's more down the middle. But staring in the mirror, if this is this is specifically for beauty, when you're staring in the mirror and you're trying to make yourself put your makeup on it and be happy, it's a slippery slope of, okay, I'm judging myself to say this looks good enough to go out in the world, and that right there breeds insecurity. And so you have to understand your customer. And there's a couple more carousels here, but that's the main gist. Is as you make these different carousel cards, you can change up what you're actually saying, so you can elicit in different responses. And at the top here, your copy should fall, and this is where we'll get over to the whiteboard, but your copy should fall in a very clear structure. And we'll get into that structure right now, but I want to show you what it looks like. This top will be the same, and these are a lot of times are just a throwaway for some people. They don't really think about it, but change it up. Try to elicit some kind of response. And here I'm saying, get rid of your pencil, get rid of the time it takes, get rid of that annoying thing of drawing on your face, get rid of those insecurities. Those insecurities being, look, with this service, you don't even have to use the pencil. You don't have to stand in the mirror. This gets you ready to go. And that's what microblading does. And you can go on and on, but make sure it applies to your customer in the language they speak. So now let's get into the actual structure, and then we'll make sure you can take this and go apply it to your ads and what you're doing. All right, so moving to the whiteboard portion of this Whiteboard Wednesday, we're going to touch on the structure of your copy itself. Now, this isn't, this is applicable across all platforms itself. Anything that has ad copy or sales copy, you should be thinking about it like this. And the way to structure your copy is in 3 different sections. And so the first thing you want to touch on, and this doesn't have to be necessarily sentence by sentence. Again, Facebook, you get 30 characters in the H1 header. In different ad platforms, you don't necessarily have the prototypical quintessential ad where it's like header description. So just think about it like this. The bulk of your beginning of whatever allotted character count you have in word count, think about it like you need to empathize. So you need to get them head nodding. And what I mean by that is, the first thing out the gates, they have to know that you understand. So like we mentioned, if you can get your customer to feel like you explained their problems better than they did, they will 100% be in hook, line, and sinker. So you have to get them to head nod. You have to empathize with this customer. And once you get them to empathize, and you do this through pain points. So for instance, if you're someone who works in insurance, whatever their pain point of your ideal typical customer is, so whether that's wasting time shopping around, or you're meeting too many sleazy salespeople or something like that. So you want to be touching on the pain point. So that's step 1. Now the next part of your ad structure, you're going to be touching on how you have to introduce now your solution to the pain points you now just opened up. So you open the floodgates for them to start to, okay, this is emotional, this is touching something. All right, now hit them with a solution. And ideally, the solution you're going to be giving them is unique to your business, whatever the case may be. So if you're offering them widget A, and in the perfect world you should be the only one producing widget A. Now that's not always possible, but if you're in a bloated market, like for instance, if we are at DeepBridge Consulting, we are market research specialists through and through. That's what we do at our core. So now that is a industry that has a lot of people who are talented. A lot of our colleagues, a lot of our competition is talented, but we come from the industry. There's not many consulting quote unquote agencies with people that come from the top firms in the world and who we tend to actually turn around and consult back with. So places like JP Morgan, places like Procter & Gamble, Nielsen, a lot of agencies don't have people that actually come from that specific background in that specific industry with this niche under their belt. So that's our unique solution. We come from the industry. We can provide you solutions that, we've actually worked in the house. We've been there and done that. So think about what is your unique solution. If it's in a big industry, you got to think about how you differ from your competition. Step 3, make the value relevant and tangible. This is very important. So when you give someone a solution, buy my stuff today because X should be very tangible from their perspective, specifically from their perspective, not how you talk about it, not how your colleagues talk about it or people in your office. That's one of the biggest problems we see is when we go and we do some qualitative research, we notice that there's just some preconceived notions based on, either jargon or there could have been something that, your company has been saying for 10 years, but you never tested. So, or you've been talking a certain way and using certain words that your customer just flat out doesn't use. They don't talk like that. A lot of times people talk to themselves. So make the value relevant and tangible from their perspective. So I have a dollar sign. So a dollar sign, a time sign, and a quality sign. Some of the best ways to do this is it doesn't always have to be money, but if it does, improve their business, by how much? The more tangible you can make that number, the more you're providing them a solution that's tied to a value, and you're not trading dollars for hours. You're not commoditized. That way you can separate your pay if you're someone who's doing some form of, research or something like that, or contract work. And if you're someone who sells a product, well then, if you're Apple, you can sell a phone or a computer for $1,000 more if you're the cool person in the room. You're the person that's seen as more tech savvy, or if genuinely the software is better. That's where you get the quality. It saves you time, it saves you money, or it's just much better than the competition. But whatever the case may be, make it relevant, make it tangible, make it tangible from their life, their perspective, from what your ideal customer has to deal with, face, and overcome. So these are the 3 pieces that any ad structure, any copy should be following, and you should be using some components of this. Now, it's not always going to be this rigid, but hopefully that helps. And if you guys found this, if anyone found this useful, go ahead and subscribe, and be sure to be checking this out. We'll see you next Wednesday, and if not Wednesday, then definitely for this coming Funnel Friday, where we'll be releasing some information on Starbucks. So probably one of the best funnels we've ever seen and really analyzed. So, and if we don't see you Friday, we see you Mailbag Monday. But either way, thanks for checking this out, and we look forward to helping you.